farmers need help sometimes, and asking
Start the
for
stream.
help is protecting the future. Farm Rescue provides equipment and volunteers free of charge.
All right, we got about 30 seconds till we kick off the show.
Thank you.
Live from the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh, along with our producer and engineer, Mr. Aaron Sommers, on the board. It is 6 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock on this Friday, TGIF, May 30th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Welcome in, everyone, here at the world headquarters of Civic Media in downtown Madison on State Street. A little cloudy, Sommers. At least that's what we think it looks like. But in reality, and this is serious, the entire state is under a weather advisory for air conditions, air quality advisory.
Really?
Because,
I did not know that.
Yes, because of the big wildfires raging in Canada, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, and that is coming down through Wisconsin, through the atmosphere. So if you're an individual with asthma or somebody that has respiratory conditions, you either might want to stay inside or limit your time outside. Brittany Merlot this morning told us that this weather system is going to move out because there's a cold front coming down from the north through the south today. That's going to bring in some showers, some garden variety thunderstorms through much of the state. And by tomorrow, most of the smoke for the wildfires should be out of the air. So just be aware of that as you go throughout your day. Going to be a great Friday here on the show. Coming up at the bottom of the hour at 2:35, Shali Pittman, the brand new news director here at Civic Media, will be our guest sitting right here in the studio. She is based here at the world headquarters of Madison. Have got to know her over the last couple of days here. Fantastic individual, a long list of accomplishments. We're very, very proud to have her joining Civic Media as the news director. And so she's going to stop by, tell us a little bit about herself and kind of her outlook on the news.
Absolutely. I am excited to have all of you hear the approach that she's taking to this position because, as Todd said, very accomplished, very nice person. I'm excited.
Yeah, she's very cool and really knows news, and I think is going to be a great leader for our news department. So Shali Pittman will be here at 2:35, at 3:06 or shortly thereafter. Little what's worse for you today. I'm not, on the face of it, it doesn't seem controversial, but maybe we'll stir the pot. Handshake or fist bump. Handshake or fist bump. That's coming up in hour number 2. Also going to check in on various assorted and sundry news of the day. Going to have, we're going to have fun with this a little bit later. Because I filled in for Kreitlow this morning, Pat Kreitlow, on Mornings with Pat Kreitlow. 6 until 9, by the way, across the Civic Media Radio Network. Patrick is going out to Idaho to see his first eldest grandson graduate from high school. So he took needed an extra day. I said, sure, I'd be happy to fill in. But how could you say no when he was such a gracious and kind host last week when he had us up at Lake Wissota at his home for our show, brought me an old-fashioned at the end of the show? How could I not say yes?
Also, why would you not want to help out a friend and colleague see their grandson graduate?
Right. He did wait until I had the brandy old-fashioned in hand and had a sip first.
That's funny. That's funny. By the way, as long as I've got you here and I'm doing this favor for you.
No, I was happy to do it. I had a good time. Our lots of changes. Speaking of our new news director, Sam Davison, the day you were out, Sommers, on Wednesday, we kind of said goodbye on this show to him. This was his last day on John and Gordy here, the morning show in Madison. He's going to come back, though, occasionally. He's going to help run the Boy Scout camp and Eagle Scout, just like yourself, this summer. And then he's going back to school, already a graduate of UW-Madison for broadcasting. He's actually has felt the call to go back and be a social studies teacher. So he's going to do that, but he'll still be stopping by. So we have Dom, the new producer for John and Gordy. He was around. And then Greg Bach will still be the co-host of Matt Nair on Air with Jane Matt Nair from 9 until 11 every morning. But he was also producing Pat Kraitlow's show. Now Greg gets to sleep in a couple of hours extra because we have Parker, the new producer and engineer for that show. So I got to work with him. Great individuals. They're both great individuals. Very excited to have them on board. Young, new talent, just like yourself, Zommers. So the median age of the home office has gone down a few years.
This is true. For those of you who've been listening for at least a few months, you'll also remember Jess, another producer we had here who left to go on to other things. You know, she's going for a medical degree. We are sad to see Jess and Sam go, but happy for them because they're moving on with their passions. And Dom and Parker are doing great so far. They're catching on to everything like that. So
Parker, though, is a graduate of UW Whitewater, the nemesis,
your sworn enemy
of UW Platteville, my alma mater. We joked around about that a little bit this morning as well. So anyway, we had on the show this morning with Pat Kreitlow's show, had a lot of fun doing that. But we talked about this weather stuff with Brittany Merlot, and these wildfires are really, really serious up in Canada, and that is causing it looks like smog or clouds, but no, it's smoke for these wildfires. So take care out there today. But anyway, Pat, on his show every morning, he does the National Day thing, where he says it's the National Day for whatever. Well, today, one of the national days is Mint Julep, National Mint Julep Day, I found out. I'm not a fan of mint juleps, really, but if you are, that's fantastic.
I don't think I've had one.
There's also, I did not even know this was a day, but we're going to celebrate it coming up in an hour or two. I'm going to keep people hanging on. You're going to love it. If you are a fan of Sesame Street, you're going to love it. So all that and more coming up in your calls as well. Always welcome to give us a ring-a-ling, 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. But let's kick it off with some serious breaking news at this hour, according to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel's Daniel Bice, great reporter there at the Journal-Sentinel. A bipartisan group of more than 130 former state and federal judges filed a brief today supporting a motion to dismiss the criminal charges against Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan, saying the case could have, quote, chilling effect, unquote, on judges around the nation. The 21-page amicus brief argues that the two federal charges against Judge Dugan represent, quote, an extraordinary and direct assault on the independence of the entire judicial system, unquote. Dugan, of course, was indicted last month on charges she helped an undocumented immigrant evade federal officers after he appeared in her courtroom. Goes on to say in this brief, quote, permitting the prosecution of a state circuit court judge for conduct falling squarely within her rightful exercise of judicial discretion establishes a dangerous precedent that will chill judicial decision-making at every level. It was a again, the brief was signed by 138 retired judges. It also says in this brief, quote, the case directly threatens the ability of all judges to do their job without fear of retaliatory prosecution, unquote. I'm sure, but my guess would be that Maggie Dawn, an attorney herself, former Milwaukee County attorney there, will be touching on this more in her show right after ours from 4 until 6. But again, the breaking news at this hour, a group of 138 retired judges urges a federal court to drop charges against Hannah Dugan. That from Dan Bice at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Also making news, this according to WisPolitics.com, great publication. Well, one in particular that really affects Wisconsin directly, and the other one is just a little bit bizarre, in my opinion. This from, again, WisPolitics. The Trump administration listed deep red Shawano County alongside Dane County and the cities of Madison and Milwaukee as the Wisconsin community is refusing to cooperate with federal immigration authorities. The release late yesterday included no information on why the communities were listed, and attempts to reach Shawano County officials were unsuccessful. Now, here's the thing, and I'm stepping away from the story for just a second. I know Shawano County pretty well. My dad and stepmom have lived there for almost 40 years, probably. Spent a lot of time up there. The sheriff up there has been a long since Republican. And now back to the story with politics. More than 67% of county voters in November backed Trump. 67% win for Trump in Shawano County. And the county board in 2021 approved a resolution, and here's the key, declaring the northeastern Wisconsin community a, quote, Second Amendment sanctuary county, unquote. Stepping away from the story, so Shawano, if you don't know, is just to the west of Green Bay. It's about a 30-minute drive now on the beautiful four-lane Highway 29. But back in 2021, the Shawano County Board passed a resolution saying that Shawano County was a Second Amendment sanctuary county. In other words, we aren't going to allow people to be arrested for having firearms. Basically, we're going to make sure we protect gun owners' rights in Shawano County. Well, of course, it's already protected by the Second Amendment, but they seem to just really want to double down on this. Back to the story at West Politics. The administration's announcement that Shawano County is under scrutiny here included a note that the list will be updated regularly and cautioned, and this is a direct quote from the Trump administration, quote, no one should act on this information without conducting their own evaluation of the information, unquote. I mean, this is the same thing that Health and Human Services Secretary Robert Kennedy said the other day when Wisconsin Congressman Mark Buchanan asked him, in committee, and Kennedy said, well, nobody should really be taking healthcare advice from me, medical advice from me. You're in charge of the Department of Health and Human Services, dude. So now here in this announcement, even though they're listing Shawano County as a community refusing to cooperate with federal immigration authorities, the Trump administration couches it and says, but, don't really believe us until you conduct your own investigation. Back to the story, President Trump signed an executive order requiring the creation of a list identifying states and local jurisdictions that obstruct federal immigration laws. Department of Homeland Security said criteria for inclusion on the list included factors such as, quote, compliance with federal law enforcement, immigration restrictions, and the legal protections for illegal aliens, unquote. Their words, not mine. So basically what appears to have happened here is the Trump administration is trying to call out communities that are calling themselves sanctuary cities for migrants. And because Shawano County passed a resolution saying it was a Second Amendment sanctuary county, because it included the word sanctuary, it appears now that the Trump administration used AI or something like that and basically got caught up in the mix.
That's what I was going to say. I would bet a lot of money that it's AI, just like when they did their whole big tariff board and had a bunch of places that are uninhabited by human beings that just have penguins and stuff. Right. It's because it was AI generated.
So again, if you think some of these out-of-control Trump policies aren't going to affect you, ask the people in Shawano County. They elected Trump in Shawano County with 67% of the vote, and now they are under scrutiny by Department of Homeland Security for being accused of being a sanctuary for immigrants. You cannot make this stuff up. 855-752-4842, 855-752-4882. Your phone calls on the other side. It's a TGIF edition of the Allbaugh Show. You're listening across the state of Wisconsin to the Civic Media Radio Network.
American made, locally crafted. Welcome to Verlo.
Medicare loses about $60 billion annually to fraud, errors, and abuse. June 2nd through the 8th is Medicare Fraud Prevention Week, focusing on the actions everyone can take to prevent, detect, and report Medicare fraud. Learn more by liking and following Wisconsin Senior Medicare Patrol on Facebook. Then visit our website, smpwi.org, for information and advice. Remember, Wisconsin Senior Medicare Patrol.
It's the Eco Minute, powered by Clean Wisconsin, your environmental voice since 1970. I'm Amy Berrio. Dismantling the IRA and other federal clean energy incentives will add a half a gigaton of greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. That's according to modeling from Princeton University. House Republicans passed aggressive cuts to clean energy incentives in their latest budget. The Senate is now considering the bill. The Public Service Commission of Wisconsin has given the green light for a major build-out of fossil fuel-burning power plants in Wisconsin. We Energies wants to build new gas plants and operate them for 30 years, largely to meet the needs of Microsoft's new AI data center. It's turtle nesting season, and the DNR is asking drivers to slow down on roads near wet areas, lakes, and rivers. Wisconsin's 11 turtle species lay eggs from late May through June, when you can often see them along roads and in yards. You can help keep them safe by being alert when driving through their habitat. For a deep dive into environmental issues, check out my Defender podcast at cleanwisconsin.org or wherever you get your podcasts.
30 seconds.
Thank you. Having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network on this Friday, May 30th, 2025. Ours, the last show for a month of May. We'll be into June. We come back on the air on Monday. How about that?
Yeah, you're right. It always goes so fast.
It all goes so fast, right? Glad to have you along. Coming up at the bottom or just after the bottom of the hour, Shelly Pittman, brand new news director here at Civic Media, is going to be here. Learn more about her and some of the things going on in the Civic Media News Department. Right now, talking about a couple of stories, one of which is breaking from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel from Daniel Bice at this hour. A group of 138 retired judges urges the federal court to drop charges against Hannah Dugan in Milwaukee. 855-752-4842. Let's go to the phone lines. Gary in Sussex. Gary, happy Friday to you. What do you got?
Hey, you too. Hey, I appreciate you letting me speak on the air, because I'm going to disagree with these 138 judges. This man he was arrested for assault and battery, for beating the living daylights out of a man and then punching a woman, and both of them ended up in the hospital. So she thought, well, because he's an illegal alien and he's now going to most likely be deported, I'm going to let you go. How would you feel if it was one of your friends or your brother or your mother that got punched and this judge went out there and just let the guy go because she didn't want him thrown out of the country?
Well, I think I want to make sure I let you finish. Number one, from what I've read about the actual case, some of which you put out there, I think is accurate. There may be other details to the story that are being left out. I'm not an attorney. I'm certainly not a judge. But from what I've seen, Gary, I don't think anybody is disputing what should or shouldn't happen to the individual who was in the courtroom. I think what it comes down to, and I think the entire tape, the videotape is hours long, but I've seen some of the clips from the courthouse video of this incident where the INS officials, or INS, the ICE they call it now, ICE officials in plain clothes were kind of just chilling, hanging out outside the courtroom. And if you look at the report from Department of Homeland Security, or ICE, it accuses Judge Dugan of being like irate and coming out and throwing this fit. But if you look at the actual videotape, that it's not there, Gary. She's very calm. We don't know what she said, obviously, because it's just a tape, not the audio. And when the defendant guy, I mean, he comes back out into a hallway where there is clearly on the videotape another plainclothes ICE official. He doesn't grab the guy, he doesn't tackle him, he just kind of follows him out of the courtroom, and then the guy, because there was other people outside the courthouse, takes off, and then they get him. So I don't think it's, for me at least, it's not about that Judge Dugan was trying to help this guy get away, or let somebody who committed a crime allegedly get away. To me, it's these charges against Judge Dugan, which seem to be, pun intended, trumped up.
Well, the thing is, you're a judge, and I guess she threw the ICE guys out, told them you can't be in my court. You got to get out of the room. That's what I was
So if you look at, and again, I'm not trying to be argumentative, but if you look at the tape, Gary, she said you have to go to the chief judge, and she showed him where the courtroom was. They said, okay, fine. Actually, apparently Judge Dugan didn't know there was another plainclothes guy that she didn't see. He stays right there. So again, she wasn't throwing them out of her courtroom. She saw that, she heard that they were standing outside, and said, look, guys, you can't just be lurking around here. Go see the chief judge who oversees the courthouse. And they did that. So I think it comes down to just a matter of, I think that the Trump administration wanted to make a point. They picked Judge Dugan to do it. And I just don't see, she should be afforded her due process, innocent and proven guilty. I just think that the feds have a really weak case based on the videotape.
Well, I disagree with you. But, as far as I'm concerned, as far as if you're illegal in this country, if you go out there and turn yourself in and say, look, I've been living here, working hard, I don't believe anybody should be thrown out of the country. I think that you should work your way to citizenship. But if you're punching people, especially a woman, and you're illegal in this country, you have no right.
Well, I would say that anybody, regardless of their status, if you're committing a crime, well, absolutely, you should be. You should have a trial of your peers, and if found guilty, you should be put away. But Gary, we just got about a minute left here. But you brought this up. You brought this up. I'd be interested in your take on it. What do you think of this thing where now it's being announced today that Trump has pulled the legal status of 500,000 individuals which paid their own way to come here on a plane, and they were given they went through did it the quote unquote right way. They were here under legal status for 2 years. They had to have financial sponsorship to get here, and now without any warning, Trump is pulling their status.
I don't know enough about it, but if you're doing good and you were welcomed into the country and you get a visa to stay here for so many years, I have no problems with that. So I think he could be wrong on that one, that take. And you know what? I don't know who's advising him. I mean, he has advisors, and he'll probably change. But I can't listen to you much longer. But you said about the fist bump and the handshake.
Yeah.
I fist bump almost everybody, and I appreciate when I fist bump, they fist bump me back. If I handshake, they handshake me. So that's the way to just try it sometime. Todd.
All right.
Go around and either fist bump and see what happens. Nobody's going to shake your fist.
Well, I appreciate your early vote on what's worse. Thanks, Gary. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye. Yeah, early vote, Sommers. An early vote. We're going to get into more of this story I just going to mention to Gary there, because this is a follow-up. Again, we have 500,000 individuals who are here legally, and just like that, Trump pulls their status, even though they're here legal. And there was another case involving somebody from Milwaukee, an immigrant who was set up. Kristi Noem, DHS secretary, sends out this thing, and it turns out the guy is 100% innocent. We'll talk about that. Stay tuned, though. We're going to keep it local. The brand new Civic Media News Director, Shali Pittman, right here on the other side on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Madison's Real News and Great Conversation, 92.7 WMDX.
You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
You've been working and working, trying everything imaginable to establish a yard. No success. Have you thought about the seed? I'm Pam Yonke with a quick update on what's happening in food and farming news on a Friday. It is not an easy feat, and the first one that will admit it, Doug Soldat. He's our University Extension turfgrass specialist, and he gets questions from one end of the state to the other on how to establish that lawn. He said one thing he advises people early on, take a look at the seed you purchased and make sure it's good quality.
Yeah, grass seed that's probably one of the most important things you can do is buy good grass seed. And it takes a little bit of looking at the labels and understanding what you're buying, because the marketing stuff on the front of the bags, like Sunny Spot, Shady's Place.
Sorry, I didn't see that. I got into the
but
thing
you really
with
want to
Gary.
look at the labels.
We'll do
The
it. We'll
best
do it
grass
right away
varieties and
before I
species
introduce
for
Shelly.
Wisconsin are Kentucky bluegrass and fine fescue. And fine fescue, there's actually a collection of them: red fescue, hard fescue, chewings fescue.
Do you have
sheep
thoughts on a
fescue.
song we
They're
should
all-
use?
they're
I sent
all
her a
about the
message,
same and pretty good. And when I'm buying
asking,
a grass seed mixture, I'm
and she
looking
just
for
said
a
whatever is good.
combination of Kentucky bluegrass and those fine fescues.
And for those of you that have an established lawn,
song
Doug
with
Soldat's
welcome
got some advice
or,
on maintaining that lawn. He
Or
says
what?
make sure
Like a
it's
welcome
sharp,
song.
blades are sharp instead of a blade's dull.
My brain is
It
freezing up.
leaf and can actually allow weeds to grow.
With Clarifly larvicide, you
We're
get
glad
more
you're
than just
here.
a light
Welcome.
product. You get
Not welcome back, because
Right, yeah. Can't use that one.
Can't use that one.
flies from the manure of the cow by as much as 96%. It is perfectly blended in your mineral supplement to become a part of what you are already doing, feeding your cattle. Get control of flies with a comprehensive program built around Clarifly larvicide and Starbar products. To learn
There
more
she
about
is.
Clarifly larvicide, contact your local feed dealer or visit centralflycontrol.com.
Might have to adjust that chair. I'm not sure if it's too high or too low, whatever. Whatever is your preference.
I like them. You got blue books. Those are
Right.
excellent. Wait, how old are they?
The books?
Yeah.
Oh, the blue books?
Yeah, when are they from?
This is 2007, 2008. This is a 97, 98.
Very nice.
I have a blue book for every year that I worked in the legislature.
And not after? They're collectibles.
I know. I don't think I have one for the last one I probably have is 14, 16.
We gotta hook you up. Whoa. Feedback.
The volume might be really high on those.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Here, sorry. Is that better?
Yeah, a
All
little
right.
bit.
Down,
Thank you.
Down further.
No, that's good.
All right.
I
and
like
these,
it loud.
These aren't hooked up.
Oh. Wha- It really is like working at a startup. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We have a studio that looks very nice,
It does. I mean, this looks great.
but nothing actually. Well, I shouldn't say nothing, but few things are actually wired correctly.
This is really cool, though. You got it going on. Yeah. I experimented with StreamYard at Wart, and I love it. Do you like
really?
it?
Yeah. We do. It works pretty well.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
all right, we come back because I got into a call there. I got to do this Brewers ticket thing real quick, and then we'll get into a conversation.
All right. Sounds good.
I get amused by some of the texts.
Yeah. It's so cool that you have that up.
All right. Let's see. We've got about 40 seconds till we
Okay,
are
thank
back
you.
on the air.
So you guys don't hear what's airing in between?
Oh, so usually we
20
Oh.
years ago.
I just had it down to do a sound check.
Got it,
I'm
sorry.
old now too.
Well, yeah, that was my whole point.
And I was too when you stopped working at TV.
That's what I get all the time now is people come up and they go, "Oh, were you on TV?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then I go, "Don't say it. I watched you when I was a little kid." And I'm like, yikes.
Catch mornings with Pat Kreitlow at its new time.
Ain't that good news? Yeah, ain't that news? Ain't that news? Ain't that good news? Yeah, that's good news.
state of Wisconsin. It's 35 minutes now past the hour of 2 o'clock. Welcome in. It is May 30th, 2025, TGIF, a Friday edition. Nicely done there, Mr. Zombers. Who's singing that? Who's
The Supremes.
Is it really the Supremes?
It sure is.
That's fantastic. We're going to have some good news here. We're going to talk to our new news director, Charlie Pittman, here in just a minute. But I was remiss. Got into that phone call with Gary. Always appreciate him listening. We don't always agree, but always good to have him call in. Because Zombers is saying you got to do the giveaway today. Because if you're watching live on the stream, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, Twix, whatever you want to call it, I am in my Brewers jersey today, or at least my my 3/4 zip and my Brewers mug, because it's the stupendous, fabulous Friday giveaway for Brewers tickets. Your chance to win 4 club seat tickets at AmFam Field for a game to be named later. No, we have it right here in front of us. It's for Saturday, June 7th against the San Diego Padres, 6:35 start time. This is very important. You have to be able to go to that game. You cannot transfer. You cannot exchange. Luke Mathers keeps these tickets. It is well-oiled mink leather satchel.
Or I think we decided
synthetic
it was
oil.
synthetic mink oil that is sustainably
people got
created.
Worried because we were killing mink.
Too many
so
minks.
it's sustainable mink oil, and he has these tickets, and so we cannot exchange them. So you have to be able to go on Saturday, June 7th, on Brewers against San Diego, 6:35. So text in, download the Civic Media app if you don't have it. It's free, and then open it up. First 11 stations of the News Talk Sports stations. Click text in the lower right-hand corner, and now you're all set. The word today for our free Friday Brewer giveaway is park. The word is park. P-A-R-K. Park. This weekend is a lovely time to go to the park. P-A-R-K. Text the word park right now on the Civic Media app, and somebody at the end of today will be a lucky winner of those 4 Brewer tickets for Saturday, June 7th. Maggie Dawn will have one more word coming up between 4 and 6. All right. Believe me, no one is more excited for our next Zombers.
Did you mention that it's statewide?
Oh, for goodness sake. I've got myself in trouble. No. Thank you, Zombers. The lawyers tell us we have to tell you this is a statewide giveaway. All right, there we go. We got the legalese out of the way. Nobody's more thankful for our next guest than me after not having a news director for quite some time and working election night without one. I've been filling the chair, but now no longer needed because we have a legitimate, wonderful, talented news director here at Civic Media making her first appearance on the air.
Absolutely.
First appearance on the air. Ms. Charlie Pittman. Charlie, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on your show, and I'm still going to tap you for election night. I hope you know that.
We'll see. We'll see. But no, I'm happy. However I can help out. But I'm really glad that you're here because, well, first of all, let's start out. Tell folks a little bit where you grew up, where you're from.
Thank you. Thanks again for having me. My name is Shali. I have worked in journalism and in radio since I was 18 years old. Grew up in kind of rural-ish Wisconsin, Fort Atkinson. Went to UW-Madison and worked at all kinds of radio stations, public and college and non-commercial. But I've never worked in commercial radio,
Really?
so I'm kind of crossing it off my list now that I'm here. The rules are a little bit different. I love that we're a statewide network. This is so cool. Still a lot to figure out, but yeah, I have done it all. I've been behind the mic. I've run so many boards and produced a lot of different shows. And I come from WORT most recently. I was the news and talk director there for 6 years. Madison hippie station is what it's commonly derided as, but it is so much more than that.
I was just going to say, I've been on Tony's show before.
Castaneda.
Yeah, Tony Castaneda. Great guy, great musician, great Madisonian.
Yeah.
One of my favorite people of all time. He was kind enough to have me on his show, and he came on this show. And what you just said, I think is really important because, you know, there's always stereotypes or whatever. And certainly, I think there is kind of that grassiness, earthiness of WORT. Yeah. But we've actually used some of your stories of WORT Newsroom on our show because you guys have really been known for some really great reporting here in Madison.
Thank you so much. And yeah, it's true. I think you pulled our reporting on Huron Consulting a couple months ago, and that took a whole year. And we do open records. I think the important thing in your community is showing up, which I know that's something that civic media is trying to do, but there's no replacing that, right? And media, in many regards, is crumbling across Wisconsin. So I think we're connected with our community. We have it's volunteer based. We have kind of 7 full-time. I should stop saying we, right? But
Well, it's only been a couple of weeks,
yeah.
right?
There are 7 full-time staff members and a few part-time staff, but everyone on the air is a volunteer over at WORT. So it's a lot of training folks on how to do good radio, but you also have a wide network of tips. So that's pretty cool.
It is super cool. And what I love about your experience at ORT, which is a community radio station, our owner CEO, Sage Weil, his original vision, which still holds true, is to create a network, a statewide, community-focused radio network. And we have so many great people across the state in our news department. We had several of them on. Just had James Kelly, our Northwest Bureau Chief up in Chippewa Falls on Friday. And I think that having those individuals all across the state being led by someone like you who comes from community-focused radio, I just think that it's a fantastic matchup, and I'm really excited.
I'm really excited to be on my 4th day here. It's been a bit of a drinking from a fire hose. I've been meeting with our reporters, our reporting team, and my number one takeaway is how hard they work, Todd. They work incredibly hard to report from their communities, and that sometimes it's not as easy when you're in rural Wisconsin, right? When there aren't a lot of other news sources. But I see that as our specialty, and and reporting what's actually happening in our community, also being the folks who show up. So I'm excited to continue that work.
We're talking with Charlie Pittman, the new news director here at Civic Media across our statewide radio network. It is 42 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock. Charlie, one of the great privileges that I have with this show is they allow me to travel throughout the state. We've done the show with Amers pretty much from almost every market at this point now, at least the news talk market, I think. And I grew up in Richland Center, and WRCO, and now part of it is WRCE, is my home station. This is where I started when I was 17. And Joanne Krulot's our news director there. She's going to school board meetings, to city council meetings. She's putting newscasts together, a 45-minute live new newscast every day, and a lot more. You got, when we were up at Chippewa Falls, James Kelly's going out to rallies against, I think, Van Orton, the congressman up there. You've got Melissa Kay at Wisconsin Rapids. We did the show from up there, much like WRCO. People are coming into the station every day. Oh, here's what's going on with our local Lions Club to raise money. Here's what's going on to raise money for the PTO. As you look at this network now that you're inheriting, I guess, or now leading is a better way to put it, what would be on day 4, a couple of goals that you would like to see us achieve our news department?
Well, the first goal is just to talk with everyone, and I'm about halfway through that goal. But short-term goals would be to make the news operations. We've had a couple of changes in the last few years to make that a little more sustainable for our reporters. But I am definitely still finding my niche. I think being connected to your community and having that play out on air, on talk shows and on news shows could use some refinement, but is of paramount importance. I think our news and our news talk, or our talk programs, being able to communicate a little more would be good. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm glad I'm not joining like the day before an election or something like that, right?
Right, yeah. I think our friend and colleague Jane Matnair, who is an icon in this business, pardon me, particularly in Southeast Wisconsin, and she and I have chatted, and it's the irony is not lost on any of us that oftentimes communication companies sometimes are the worst at internal communication.
Well, we're doing okay, but I think there's some things to figure out. And, but there are so many projects to take up. And that's sort of also what I love about this company is it does have a little bit of a startup vibe to it. And there are so many things that we can do, right? I was in, what do you guys call it? The knock?
I just call it the control room.
Yeah.
It's Network Operations Center. The NOC.
Is that what it stands for?
Yeah, that's what it stands for.
Oh, I didn't know.
It's a really
I've been here 3 years. I didn't know.
It's a really great place to hang out because you can listen to any station with the click of a button, which I love. But it's, our Chris Casper, the the engineering guy here, was just showing me what they use to do live remotes, and they have all this technology that you can go anywhere in the state and do a live remote, even if you don't necessarily have broadband. So there are a lot of opportunities here. I've got folks asking me about open records already, and I'm excited to bring more of that with us as well, or just as much, but to really hone that. So there are a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, and I guess the point I've been bringing that up earlier is just that what I love about you is you're from the business, you're a broadcaster, you're a journalist, and so you get this stuff. And so I think sometimes, we in communication, myself included, who doesn't always do a good job of communicating with others, the fact that you get that and you can instantly on day one is just a huge compliment to our company. And I'm really, really excited to have you here.
That's really kind of you. Thank you so much. Radio people are the best. The folks who can run the board, who can be behind the mic.
Zommers is fantastic.
Yeah. Has he hosted?
Well, I not really hosted. No.
I mean, I've talked on the radio. I talk on the radio. Yeah, I talk every day. But no, I guess I co-hosted with one of our producers who left recently, Jess. That was one day.
Yeah.
I've done one show as
So
a
yes.
very secondary co-host.
The answer is yes. You've hosted, right? So they all knowing each role is so important too, to know what a producer, how much work it takes to produce. Producers never get enough credit. You do a very good job, but
we try.
Yeah, no, I think that's really important, of acknowledging all of the people who work really hard to make a show a success, and you do it flawlessly.
Well, you're too kind, but I'm a big believer in team, and I just come in and do my little part. But you're absolutely right. Without engineers and producers like Zommers, without our engineering team, without, it goes on and on, this thing's never going to work. So I'm just very privileged and fortunate to be here and do my little dog and pony show between 2 and 4. That's the way it is.
Well, this morning you were on This Morning too, so you're doing a little more.
Yes, this morning I got up early and did Pat Kreitlow's show, and that was a lot of fun. Can you hang around for another segment?
Sure.
You have time? Because I want to come back here. I guess we have a couple minutes.
Well,
left.
1 minute.
1 minute or so. When we come back, this morning, Pat has this great roundtable on Fridays, and Mark Jacob, who wrote for the Chicago Tribune and Chicago Sun-Times, fantastic guy, as is Jennifer Schulze, who is at ABC7 and WGN TV in Chicago. And we had this discussion this morning on what I guess I'll say the word mainstream media is missing today, and the benefit of having independent journalism, and maybe how civic media fits into that. So we'll ask you that on the other side.
Okay.
All right. Text the word PARK, P-A-R-K, to the Civic Media app for those Brewer tickets. Come on back. Talk news with Charlie Pittman. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
News, weather, and
Beautiful
sports on
garbage
air
cans,
and
my feet,
streaming on the
goodness
Civic
gracious.
Media app. This
How
is
do
the
you get
Civic
your
Media
energy? I'm
Radio
so
Network.
impressed. If I had to wake up.
I just, I think, I mean, it sounds very, very cliche, but
Well,
if you're doing what you love, it's
okay.
it
Well,
really
to
isn't
get a
work.
commercial on the air
So,
here, you just go
I
down
don't
to
know,
the
I
sales
just-
department. It's right next to the bathroom.
I'm not anywhere close. I never will be to David Letterman, but he used to say, I used to think, really? And I think Carson said this as well, that their favorite hour of the day was the hour that they were doing the show. And it was all the things on either side of that drum. And there's some truth there. So the 2 hours that were on the air is my favorite part of the day. So
The adrenaline rush is like nothing else.
yeah, it's just fun to do it. And we have great listeners, everybody else. Zommers, can we come back with the theme song from MASH, please?
Yep.
Suicide is painless.
Commercial get on the air soon.
Do you know that's the name of that song?
I think we just did.
Advertise on WMDX Radio. Email Arthur, sales@WMDXradio.com.
We have breaking news for those watching the stream. You heard it here first. Loretta Swit, the actor who starred as Hot Lips Houlihan on MASH, dead at 87.
And be sure to catch the family
Do we know how? Because there's one way that we should not play that song.
No, but that's the theme song.
No, I know, but if...
I don't think at 87 she died of suicide. Here, right? It is believed she has died of natural causes.
I just wanted to ask.
I appreciate the
Glass
question.
and Gifts 3 locations in Madison, but you can also shop Ignite Glass and Gifts.
I'm not sure why that tickled me so much.
Grinders, lighters, collectibles. and
There's one way we should not play that song.
Artistically designed jewelry and plenty of other items delivered straight to your door or to family and friends.
I think it was just Mental Health Awareness Month.
Gifts and vapes.
Yeah, sure was. We did a 3-part series
And O'Dana Road.
on mental health awareness. Kira Sabin, our positivity psychology life coach, came on.
No more mold.
Talked about
no
coping
more
skills.
damage, No more slipping and hurting.
Did that include the song Suicide is Painful?
No, it did not. It did not. It did not. We did not play it. We have more tact than that. Not a lot more, but a little more.
BCI Bath and Shower is made in America for the highest quality. First 50 callers save $1,500 on a never clear glass treated door. BCI Bath and Shower. Interest-free financing options. 800-329.
One thing that was really weird, that one show I co-hosted, it goes so much faster when you're over there than when you're over here. At least,
yeah.
Over there, time goes slow.
Yeah.
Coached by humans and officiated by humans. So the next time you're sitting in the stands at a school athletic event, please remember this and maintain your humanity.
About 30 seconds.
Thank you.
Especially when it comes to judging and critiquing athletes, coaches, and officials. Please show your fellow.
Through early morning fog I see.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show. This is Civic Media Radio Network. It's now 2:52 here across Wisconsin. That is the you found the rare version, Sommers, of the word version. That's rarely played.
Is it?
With the words. It's usually just but it's fine. I'm not criticizing it.
Right, usually it's like a trumpet, not...
Yeah, it's like the... But no, it's fine. But it's the theme song to MASH. Some breaking news, according to CBS News at this hour. Loretta Swit, who played Major Margaret Houlihan on the TV series MASH, has died. A representative for her confirmed it to CBS News. Ms. Swit was 87 years old. She died at her home in New York City, according to a representative, B. Harlan Bowl, who said in a statement to CBS News today. She is believed to have died of natural causes. Swit starred on stage and screen, but she was perhaps best known for her long-running role as the foil to Alan Alda's Benjamin Franklin Hawkeye Pierce on MASH, which aired for 11 seasons on CBS from 1972 to 1983. Again, Loretta Swit, better known as Hot Lips Houlihan on the show MASH, dead at 87. We're here with our guest this half hour. We're pleased to have her not just this half hour, but here at the company. She is the news director for Civic Media, Shelley Pittman. Shelley, do you ever watch MASH?
No, I was going to say that went all over my head, but you seem like you like MASH.
It was one of my all-time favorite television shows, and the finale of MASH, which was the title of it is called Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen, was the number one. It still might be the number one network show of all time. It got like 87 million people or something watching it.
Now, is it something that you rewatch?
Oh, I have, because my dad collected them, and I've kind of inherited that. I have all 11 seasons on DVD.
Do you watch them on DVD?
I haven't. I don't sit down and do it. But like MeTV or something on cable or over there. And I think that to me is the testament to a great television program. It's been off the air all these years, and I can watch it. An episode I might have seen a dozen times, and I still laugh and/or get. That was the magic to MASH, is the writing. Because at first it was based on a movie, a comedy movie, and then made into a series. And the first 2 or 3 or 4 years were all just comedy. It was very funny. But then it got into this kind of storytelling of telling the story of people in war, and it got very emotional as well. And they could combine that magically between comedy and drama.
Which, by the way, I looked it up. MASH is indeed the number one most watched broadcast live if you exclude
Super Bowls. Right.
Because if you include those, it's number 12, and the rest of the top 20 are all Super Bowls.
Pretty impressive. Yeah, it was a big show back in the day. We got about 4 minutes left or so. Shali, we talked this morning on Pat Kreitlow's show, filling in for him with Mark Jacobs, formerly the Chicago Sun-Time and or Chicago Tribune and Sun-Times, and also Jennifer Schulze, who worked in television at ABC 7 and WGN, about the fact that so much of mainstream media is either getting pressure from higher up, in the case of CBS and ABC, who have either settled or in the process of trying to settle lawsuits from President Trump and are kind of capitulating. Scott Pelley on 60 Minutes called his own network out at the series finale this year of 60 Minutes. And I think one of the great advantages to independent news sources, of which I would consider Civic Media one, is there ain't no directive from the top that, you can only say this or that. Our owner, Sage Wild, just wants us to tell the truth.
It's a great directive to have. And, I think that's part of the challenge of this job is parsing out what exactly are we going to focus in and what are we focusing on for that day. But you're right. I also think that there are many talented journalists who work at all of those networks.
Oh, agreed.
And radio in particular is a particularly challenging medium to work in, where we get lumped in with everyone else at the station because you are the voice behind the mic. Mm-hmm. And if people tune in once, then you are representative of the entire station, right? And I think that's a very difficult thing to grapple with, especially when you're talking about news where you get to say your opinion, Todd.
Right.
I don't, right?
Right.
So I think that is something that has never quite been solved, but I invite folks to think of radio as a newspaper, right? You are the opinion section, and the newscasts that you hear in the middle of your show are the news section, right? Mm-hmm. Which are fact-checked and vetted, and not that you're not vetted.
No.
What kind of vetting process did you go through?
Well, a lot of people would say not much of one. No, I've said this show many times. This is not a journalist news program. It's a news talk opinion program.
Exactly.
But having gone through Platteville's communication and journalism school, well, not proper J school, but communication program, I apply journalistic ethics to this show.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. But there is a distinction, and I ran across that at WORT, and I think every station and other news sources also face that problem of there are many people who work at one place, and they all have slightly different perspectives and procedures and ways and ethics, right? So trying to standardize some of that too is a little bit part of my goals here.
About a minute left or so. What have I not asked you that you think people across Wisconsin should know about you or your new role as news director?
Oh, so much, and I look forward to getting to know you better. Listeners might want to know that we share a wall, so I can hear you laughing every day, and it makes me really happy that so you have a cool energy over there in your kind of producer's corner, which I appreciate. So
well, you're being way too kind because I travel a lot. My desk area has got to be quite a nest, so that's my goal to try to clean that out so it's not quite so bad over the weekend.
Yeah. Some of the greatest journalists I've seen, they have very messy desks, so I think you're okay.
Thank you. You're absolutely right. It's the HEAD thing. Back in the Capitol, my desk would be a mess. My boss would say, "How can you find anything?" I say, "What do you want?"
I don't have time to find something. I just need to do the thing.
Exactly. I could pull something out of a pile. I knew exactly where it was. Shali Pittman, everybody, our new news director here at Civic Media. Welcome, Shali, and please come back often.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Stay tuned. What's Worse is next. You're listening to the Todd Allbaugh Show across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
92.7 WMDX Columbus, Madison's home for real news and great conversation. A civic media station.
It was a lot of fun, really. And we'd love to have you on a regular basis.
ABC News,
All right.
I'm
All
Chuck
right, cool.
Sievertson.
Thank you.
A dangerous mess not too far south of the Canadian border near Lyndon, Washington. People, pedestrians, and drivers are urged by the sheriff's office to stay 200 yards away from where a commercial truck overturned. The truck is carrying an estimated 70,000 pounds of honeybee hives containing live bees. We're just hearing that Loretta Swit has
Good
died.
stuff.
Most famously playing Major Margaret Houlihan, head of nurses, on the still popular TV comedy series MASH. She was 87. Its final episode in 1983 still is the top-rated scripted TV show of all time.
Zombers
Hundreds
beat
of
CBS
thousands
News.
of
How about
migrants
that?
in the U.S. could be forced out after
Well,
a
on
Supreme
our
Court
network
decision
anyway.
today. It allows the government to move ahead
Who's
with
to
its
say on
plans
theirs?
to end parole protections granted by the Biden administration to 500,000 migrants who fled Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela.
It is also
Cuba's
still the
foreign
highest
ministry in
rated
tiff with the U.S.
any
This
broadcast.
is ABC News.
How about that?
So Super Bowls
This
may have
is
more
your
views,
local
but this
civic
was
media
rated better.
radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. The strike continues. So far, there's no deal just yet for Meritor nurses and the hospital, at least not at the time of this recording. Reps from the Service Employees International Union of Wisconsin and hospital leaders met yesterday with help from a mediator, but they didn't come to an agreement. They resumed a bargaining session at 8 o'clock this morning. Yesterday, nurses on strike made loops around the hospital, chanting and holding up their signs. And we've got an air quality advisory today for Wisconsin. Smoke from Canadian wildfires could impact our air. There are more than 130 fires burning over the Canadian border. That smoke may have the biggest impact on sensitive groups like seniors, kids, people with heart or lung disease, and others. Staff from Public Health Madison-Dane County say it's fine to be outside, but you probably want to limit that time outdoors and take frequent breaks inside. Now's a good time to close the windows and use the AC if you've got it. Make sure it's got a clean filter in there too, because it'll be working hard. Here in Dane County, we're expected to experience this smoke for a couple more days. And this weekend is the start of meteorological summer, even though we already had the cultural start of summer. But the summer solstice isn't for a few more weeks now. If that all sounds confusing, meteorologist Brittany Merlot breaks it down.
The unofficial start to summer was Memorial Day weekend. It's typically when pools and beaches open up for the season. Now, the meteorological start to summer starts on Sunday, June 1st. It includes the months of June, July, and August. And the season timing is a bit different and runs by the calendar. It's done that way so it's easier to keep track of data and changes to the climate. And the astronomical start to the summer lands on June 20th. This marks the summer solstice, which is the longest day of the year. After that, the hours of sunlight start to get shorter.
Oh, don't
I'm
tell us that,
meteorologist Brittany Merlot.
I don't want to think
And I'm
about the
Savannah
days
Tomei
getting
Olson.
shorter
You're
yet.
listening to 92.7 WMDX News.
Some big plays at the Packers practice. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with Sports in Green Bay, where the Packers are wrapping up a week of OTA practices. A 60-yard bomb for a touchdown from Jordan Love to wide receiver Dontavian Wicks. Offensive coach Jason Vrabel on how Wicks has improved.
I think he's matured so much. You know, he's always been a hard worker. He's always practiced really, really hard, but it's just, I think mentally he was just, kind of some days going like this, and you could feel it was almost like the whole world's weighing on him. I just said, man, just let your work take care of itself.
Baseball, the Brewers opening a 3-game weekend series tonight in Philadelphia. In golf, round 2 of the U.S. Women's Open at Erin Hills, just outside of Hartford, Wisconsin. Yolimi No from the U.S. atop the leaderboard after chipping in for an eagle on the par 5 at 14.
Well, US
Did you
Opens
see
are
a few
always very
hours ago
grand,
the
and coming to Erin Hills
hearing
definitely
with
lived up to the
Senator Joni
expectations.
Ernst?
It's an incredible
Yes.
goal.
Yeah, that's insane.
Did you? In fact, do you have that clip? I think I can actually send it to you.
It's Civic
Send it to
Media's
myself,
mission
I
with
think.
stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
The one I have doesn't have the question. I don't think you can hear it because it's people in the audience
It's not,
yelling at her.
Yeah, they say, but people are going to die. It's not really a question. They say people are going to die. And she's like, yeah.
People are not, well, we all are. So, people are not.
Okay, yeah, you kind of can't hear it. So, okay, I have that.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Tooth,
That
of
is-
course, and AI. We're android
Yeah,
robots.
people are going to die. Well, you know,
You've
we're
been
all going to die.
assimilated into the Borg.
We are into the Borg. Be kind of cool. The Borg hearing aid. If they haven't, we should latch onto that. The John and Gordy Borg hearing aid devices at a special
By
discount.
that logic,
Weekday
I should just go
mornings,
shoot
6 till
people.
8 on 92.7
Hypothetically.
WMDX
Again, this
and the
is-
Civic Media app.
Here's the deal.
Excuse me.
We gotta
They're gonna die anyway.
See,
Someday.
retirement is the long game. We gotta make moves and make them early. Set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up and stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things.
Start building
30
your
seconds.
retirement
AI
plan
spelled
at
Shali's
This Is
name
Free.
Shally.
Well, that is incorrect.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Live from the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Todd Allbaugh, along with our outstanding producer and engineer, Mr. Aaron Zommers on the board. It is 6 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Welcome into hour number 2 of the big program here on Friday, TGIF, May 30th, 2025, from the world headquarters of Civic Media downtown Madison. It looks like clouds. I guess it might still be cloudy, but it looks a little darker than it should because we are under a air quality advisory, the entire state of Wisconsin, for all day, as these Canadian wildfires, which are raging up in Canada. Brittany Merlot this morning on the Pat Kreitlow show told us that this is at least due in part to climate change, global warming, and this is causing bigger and a longer fire season, not just in Canada, but in parts of the United States as well. And now we have, when this happened, what, a year or two ago, something like that, we had, and it lasted for several days where it was really hard to be outside. So this will not last several days. It's expected that after today, what's going to happen is a cold front's going to move through. That's going to create some showers and garden variety thunderstorms through parts of Wisconsin today and into overnight. And that will kind of push out the smoke in the air. So it should be a little bit easier and better to breathe. By tomorrow, temperatures warm up during the weekend, and then by Monday, this is what happens when you start your day at 4:30. By Monday, it's going to get what my grandma used to call sultry. It's going to be sultry on Monday. Exactly the type of weather that Zommers loves. It's going to be like 90 and humid.
I'm going to go find, I'm going to walk into a random restaurant that has a walk-in freezer and just go in there. Just walk back into the kitchen and go in the walk-in freezer.
It'll be a hot one on Monday, so be prepared for those summer-like temperatures coming in on Monday. Coming up here in just a little bit, we're going to do some of the what's worse for you today. And also, it is one of the national days. There's like, National Spaghetti Day, National Be Nice to Your Mom Day. There's a national day for everything. Well, today, there is a national day based on a Sesame Street skit. I did not know this existed, and I am thrilled by it. So we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes as well, and also get into more of the serious news. Lots of news today, particularly around immigration. And one of the stories, once again, has Wisconsin in the spotlight. An immigrant who was charged with threatening to kill the President of the United States, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem tweeted about it, has ruined this guy's reputation, and now it comes out he's 100% innocent. So we'll discuss that a little bit later as well. Want to remind you here, we are smack dab in the middle of our Friday, Free Ticket Friday Milwaukee Brewer giveaway. This is for 4 tickets to the Milwaukee Brewer game for Saturday, June 7th. And it's very important. It's very important that you go to this game. We cannot exchange it or trade it out. You have to be able to go Saturday, June 7th, when they take on San Diego at 6:35. So it's for that game. Download the Civic Media app if you don't have it, because you're going to want to have it for Monday as well when we start our new Scotty Sunburn Summer giveaway ticket thing.
Close enough.
It's our big text to win contest starting on Monday. And you have to have the Brewers or the Civic Media app for that.
Notably, also a statewide contest.
Yes, exactly. So download the Civic Media app for not just today, for the Brewers tickets, but for our new text to win contest starting on Monday. You download the app, you open it up, the first 11 stations are ours, and then you click on one of those, and you'll see text in the lower right-hand corner. Click on that, and then text the word right now. The word is park, P-A-R-K. Always good to go to the park during the summer. P-A-R-K. Text it right now on the Civic Media app, and you could be eligible to win 4 club-level seats in the beautiful club level. Nice seats, great seats, for Saturday, June 7th against San Diego. Park, P-A-R-K. Park is the word. Maggie Dawn will have another word coming up sometime between 4 and 6 this afternoon. Right now, let's go to the phone before we do What's Worse. How about that? 855-752-4842. Mark from Prairie du Sac. Mark, you wanted to speak about this incident I was talking about. We're going to talk more about it in a bit, but involving Kristi Noem.
Yeah, does this guy have any cause of action for Kristi Noem defaming this guy? I mean, trying to ruin this guy's life. I mean, that figuratively, I'd want her head on a spike. I mean, it is just it's the kind of thing that here she's cosplaying all over the bloody country, posing with, holding higher powered weapons, and with her, her thugs alongside of her also holding weapons. And I mean, that is just not the image that is supposed to be portrayed in this. And going after this guy like this, I mean, this they need to pay.
Yeah.
I mean, she needs to pay, and it should be with her job. I mean, it is just beyond the pale that this woman violated her oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, and apparently she's never read the document. I mean, that I play a constitutional scholar sometimes, but I'm certainly not. But I certainly know that she violated the Constitution 9 ways to Sunday with this nonsense.
Yeah. Appreciate the call, Mark. Agree. It's just a really, really bad look, but even worse, it's really bad for this poor guy who happens to be, by the way, from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Long as Mark called in, let's just give you the details on this story. According to CNN, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem posted on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, this week, that an undocumented migrant from Mexico had been arrested for allegedly sending a letter threatening to kill President Trump. She also included a picture of the man and a copy of the letter. But get this. Investigators now believe the migrant was set up. According to several sources, law enforcement believes that Ramon Morales Reyes, 54, did not write the letter, which was sent to an Immigration and Customs Enforcement office and other agencies. Instead, investigators suspect a person who is currently awaiting trial in a robbery and assault case in which Reyes was the victim wrote the letter in an attempt to have him deported. Federal officials who asked for a handwriting sample from Reyes also determined that his handwriting and the threatening letter did not match. The guy is totally innocent. He was set up by someone who assaulted him because they want to get him out of the country, I guess figuring, well, geez, if the guy's out of the country, maybe they'll drop the charges on me. So they make this up and send this out. More now from Wisp Politics and the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Mr. Reyes, as we said, 54, a Mexican immigrant living in Milwaukee, was arrested on May 22nd on Milwaukee's South Side shortly after dropping his daughter off at school. Family members say the family members of Morales, the innocent guy, are now receiving death threats after Kristi Noem made that post, claiming that he threatened to assassinate President Trump, which he did not do. However, his family members and his attorney say Reyes, who, get this, does not speak English and is not proficient in writing in Spanish, could not have authored the letter. Officials already determined Reyes did not write the letter by the time they interviewed him. Reyes' attorney says DHS was, quote, careless, unquote, with their issuance of the statement. Noem has already done irreversible damage to the family. I mean, this is just absolutely preposterous to me. It's sick. Here's a guy who beat up another person, and he's planting a letter, basically, setting this guy up, trying to get him thrown out of the country so that he gets off the charges of assault. 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Dana listening in La Crosse. Dana, thanks for calling. Just a couple of minutes left. What say you?
Hi, Todd. It's been a while. Good to talk to you.
You as well.
Hey, on this Kristi Noem story, I'm trying to think with my MAGA hat on here. If she wrote that letter, but on your latest statements, it sounds like maybe she didn't actually write it.
No, it's not alleged that Kristi Noem wrote it. It's alleged that the guy who beat up Reyes wrote it.
Ah, well, then wouldn't that guy be the one that actually threatened the president, and he should be held liable for it?
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point.
You know?
That's
all I got.
Yeah.
I got to get back to work.
Okay.
You guys have a
Thanks,
great
Dana.
day.
Really appreciate it. Have a great day up there near Granddad's Bluff in beautiful La Crosse, Wisconsin. No, that's a great point. Again, I'm not an attorney, but there might be something to that. I mean, if he wrote this letter threatening the president of the United States and made it look like someone else did it, I mean, the guy who wrote it, maybe he's liable in that case. I don't know. Either way you cut it, it's so disappointing and so sick, in my opinion. And look, each of us have to take responsibility for our own actions. But again, I go back to, I firmly believe that much of what we do in the country, in our communities, are influenced in some way, shape, or form by the people who we elect. The President of the United States, whomever that is, that person, we're not like other countries that have kings and queens and even, monarchs that are kind of, not, however, they don't run the government, but they're a part of the country. Here, the President of the United States is essentially like our monarch. You want to look up to that person. And when President Trump is demeaning people based on their race, the color of their skin, where they're from, all that does is incite others, his followers, some, not all. But this guy apparently is, Trump does this. He disparages immigrants. If I do the same thing, they'll throw this guy out, and I'll get off scot-free for beating him up. And the really sick part is that Kristi Noem, who knows better, she doesn't care about the facts. And this is what's so dangerous about this administration. They don't seem to care about the truth. They don't seem to care about what's real and not real. Remember J.D. Vance, when he was running for vice president last year, remember the whole dogs and cats, they're eating the dogs and cats, the Haitian immigrants, which was all made up? J.D. Vance said on the record, we played it for you, last year, where he said, hey, if I have to make things up, I will. If we exaggerate to get elected, to win this race, we'll do that. They have not changed since they've gotten into office and into power. Come on back. It's 19 past the hour of 3 o'clock. Lighten things up a bit. A little what's worse for you on the other side. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Here, you're listening to 92.7 WMDX.
Hi, Gordy Kopke here. When I first invited folks to my farm 40 years ago, I could never have dreamed that would become the area's largest greenhouse. With a focus on quality plants at reasonable prices and a special emphasis on customer service, we have received the People's Choice Award as Madison area's best greenhouse. Located 2 miles east of Oregon in the beautiful town of Dunn, I invite you out to see why we are not only the area's largest greenhouse, but also the best.
Unlock the magic within. Come to the Comfy Cauldron, a sanctuary in DeForest for healing massage and spiritual connection to the living and the deceased. Your mind, body, and spirit deserve this. Book your massage or reading today at thecomfycauldron.com.
Madison, get ready to sizzle. Come into Ko-Ro Hut Korean Barbecue and Hot Pot, Easttown Mall. Indulge in all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue with the freshest meats grilled right at your table. Wash it down with boba tea. Enjoy the pleasant atmosphere. Ko-Ro Korean Barbecue and Hot Pot.
Medicare loses about $60 billion annually to fraud, errors, and abuse. June 2nd through the 8th is Medicare Fraud Prevention Week, focusing on the actions everyone can take to prevent, detect, and report Medicare fraud. Learn more by liking and following Wisconsin Senior Medicare.
Here's that clip I told you about.
All right,
Do you want to hear it?
Sure.
Look, he's been a sort of a moderate person over his lifetime, not a smart person, but a somewhat vicious person, I will say. If you feel sorry for him, don't feel so sorry because he's vicious. What he did with his political opponent and all of the people that he hurt a lot of people, Biden. And so I really don't feel sorry for him. But
And it was specifically asked about cancer?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I wish this clip had the question, but right, we got about 25
All
seconds.
right, thank you. Network. 22 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Who's that? Who's the
That
artist
is
there?
the White Stripes.
The
with,
White
Jack
Stripes.
White playing guitar and singing.
Oh, very good. It is pertinent to today's What's Worse. Going to do that in a second. First of all, reminder, if you want to be eligible to win 4 club level seat Milwaukee Brewers tickets for Saturday, June 7th, and it is specific to that game, Saturday, June 7th at 6:35 in the evening, go to the Civic Media app and text us the word PARK, P-A-R-K. Text PARK, P-A-R-K, right now, and to be eligible. At the end of the day, the computer will randomly select one winner from all the entries from throughout today, and you will be on your way to AmFam Field on Saturday, June 7th. And by the way, our Luke Mathers reminded us this morning, that particular game, June 7th, they're giving away a Jackson Cheerio replica jersey. So it's for the first 25,000 fans.
So if you win, you might want to try and show up a little early.
Get there
or
early.
a lot early.
Yeah, get there early. So it's really a twofer. You get the seats. If you win, you get the free tickets for the seats, and you get a free jersey for Jackson Cheerio. So why not enter? Chances much better to win this than the lottery.
That's for sure.
Text us the word PARK, P-A-R-K, right now on the Civic Media app. Go to the App Store, download it, open it up. First 11 stations are our News Talk sports stations. Click on one of those, go to the text icon, and then text the word park, P-A-R-K. 24 past 3 o'clock. Time once again for What's Worse. Let's go.
This or that, this or that. Then, of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that.
Time once again for What's Worse. In this portion, nothing to give away, no prize money involved, but it is your chance to have your voice heard across all 11 news sports talk stations in the Civic Media Radio Network. No better place to advertise, to get your word out of your business, get your business's word out. How about that? The Civic Media Network. Check us out at civicmedia.us. All right. Timely indeed. Whether, a lot of times Brewers players, whether if they win, they'll go through a line and they shake hands, but not everybody shakes hands, especially after COVID, right? COVID the fist bump was always kind of around, but it really took off during COVID. So today's category, what's worse, handshake or fist bump? What's worse, handshake or fist bump? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Let's go to the phone lines. Charles, listening to WAUK in beautiful Milwaukee. Charles, handshake or fist bump? What's worse?
Handshake. I used to think fist bump was, but 11 years ago, I had a bilateral double lung transplant. So now to keep down germs, I fist pump.
Ah, all right.
And instead of handshaking. So handshaking for me because of germs.
That's a great point. And I think we kind of got sensitized to that during COVID, right? It was just like, well, and some people did like the elbow bump as well during COVID.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Charles. Well, I think that's a great viewpoint on that. A great entry, our first entry. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend, Charles.
You as well.
Thank you very much. What's worse, handshake or fist bump? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. You can also text us on this as well on the Civic Media app. Cam in Appleton says, both are worse. I've been in men's bathrooms and see all of you not wash your hands.
Cam, you nailed it on the head. That is like my number one pet peeve. And I have a lot of stories relating to me trying to convince people to wash their hands or publicly shaming people in front of their families in restaurants for not washing their hands.
Do you do that?
I have done it before.
To a stranger?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'd be like, you might be okay with eating off your pee, but your family probably isn't.
Oh, jeez. I've never done it to just a complete stranger.
I didn't say that to a complete stranger.
Oh, okay.
But that's how I really feel.
Matt, listening in Richland Center, says the fist bump is worse.
Oh, don't read the rest of that.
Yeah, there's more, but we're gonna keep it non-personal. So we're just gonna say Matt's vote is for a fist bump is worse. Appreciate the call or the text there. One of our wonderful UPS drivers out there in the old RC getting her done there on a Friday afternoon. What's worse, handshake or fist bump? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842, or text us on the Civic Media app. What's worse, handshake or fist bump? You want to give yours numbers?
I think I gotta go with Charles and say that handshake is worse. I mean, there is the
clearly after what you said.
Well, yeah, there is the germ aspect, but also, a lot of people put way too much pressure on handshakes, and no one really does that for fist bumps.
You mean like when you meet someone?
Yeah, like, oh, you gotta make a good impression, have a good firm handshake, and some people take that way too seriously.
When I was growing up, that was a major thing, and also, I think a lot of people still judge to a certain degree. Like, and I will say, if someone has like a limp handshake, that annoys me. I don't know. It's weird.
No, that's fair. It can be weird.
Just give the person like a good. Don't have to like. I mean, Trump is notorious for trying to like squeeze people's hands. Yeah, just a firm handshake and look them in the eye. Nice to meet you.
Also, fist bumping little kids is so much fun.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. Let's see here. Cam also says in Appleton, I chewed out a woman at Cub Foods for picking up meatballs with her hands and popping them in her mouth at the self-serve station at the hot food court. Who does that? What's wrong with people? All right, what's the worst handshake or fist bump? 855-752-4842. More on the other side. Ag, update, news, weather, and sports. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Voice for Madison, real news and great conversation.
Also, when COVID was in full swing and I was in college, there was this group of jocks who had like really crappy masks that they pulled up over their mouths partway to walk into the cafe and then immediately put them back down around their necks. And they also took the elevator, which is like it's for disabled people and equipment. And so when I saw them when they were leaving and getting back on the elevator, I was like, nice chin diapers, bro. Have fun in the elevator.
Farm Report and Lindsay Spindler,
You're gutsy. I'll give you that.
Only sometimes. They just looked at me.
Summer camp is here
dumbfounded.
to give a more in-depth look at what this camp is.
Summer Academy is a week-long experience on the University
Most of my calling people out for sanitation was in college.
Really?
Yeah, in the dorms. In one of the one year, the dorm that I lived in,
about career
it was
choices and get some hands-on experience.
It was a weird-shaped dorm because it was supposedly riot-proof. But
and
whatever. It's like a pentagon or hexagon or something.
Yeah.
And the rooms are all around the edges, and the bathroom was in the middle.
Mechanic to baking
And
to civic
you could hear
engagement,
if people
and they
didn't
learn
flush or wash their hands.
and get a lot of
And so
experience from
we got a
professionals
whiteboard in the
those career
bathroom
paths.
for maintenance
Spindler
stuff, like to
says
write
that
if something
this
was broken.
academy is for
And I wrote
students
on
in
it,
8th through
hey,
11th
everybody, please
grade
wash your
to help
hands and
them
flush the
start
toilet.
thinking
And
about
then
their
somebody wrote
future.
back, no,
From
it
the
takes too
Midwest
long.
Farm
I was
Report, I'm
like,
Ben
oh my
Jarbo,
God.
flush it
and we'll
as you're
take a
standing
look
up.
at the
It doesn't
closing
take long.
markets
And then
right
they were
after
just like
this.
being super belligerent about it. And so
Pancakes,
then I wrote,
potatoes, sausage, eggs.
you
oh
may
my.
be okay
Come hungry
with
to the Marquette
eating after
County
touching your
Junior
junk, but I would
Breakfast
prefer
on
not to.
Sunday,
And then they
June
took the board down.
At Slowey Farms
bet they
on
did.
Evergreen Avenue in
I bet they
Westfield.
did. I sent
In
you
addition to
a
breakfast,
song
enjoy live
we're going to
music,
use.
farm tours, a
The whole
petting
The
zoo,
Bucket
and
song.
kid games.
You
can
can
also try
fast
your
forward
luck
it
at
to
bingo.
because
Breakfast
it starts
and
out just
activities start
talking.
at
You
7
can fast
a.m.
forward
at
it to where they actually
Slowey
start
Farms
singing.
on
The guy
Evergreen
starts
Avenue
singing.
in Westfield on June 8th. For full event details, see our event on Facebook.
Hey, got yield? The Wisconsin Soybean Association is excited to announce the 2025 Wisconsin Soybean Yield Contest, highlighting the innovative production practices of Wisconsin soybean growers. The Yield Contest celebrates soybean growers across the state and their dedication to improving their operations. 2 winners will be selected from 4 geographical divisions, with additional awards available. Entry forms must be postmarked by August 31st, so don't wait. For more information, visit wisoybean.org.
Welcome back. I'm Ben Jarbo with the Midwest Farm Report. Now let's see how the dairy markets turned up in Chicago on this Friday. Class 3 milk prices are a bit mixed, with June contracts up 6 cents at $19.22 a hundredweight, and July contracts down 6 cents at $19.46 a hundredweight. And looking ahead, we are seeing slight losses.
I have
with
a different
August
video that
contracts down
starts
9
where he's like,
cents at
I'm going to go get some water, Liza. She's like, good for you. And he's like, wait, look at this. And then he starts singing. So do you want the beginning if it's only like 10 seconds?
40-pound blocks had no change,
I'll play it.
sitting at 194 3/4.
Boom doo doo doom. Boom doom boom. Liza, going down to the well, fetch us some water.
Well, that's nice, dear Henry.
Wait a minute.
Start where he says Liza. Not the homely dum. Start where he actually speaks. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Not now, but later on we do the bit. Not really a bit, but whatever.
Right.
It's 71 degrees.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
Michael Negron of the Small Business Majority.
The Trump administration thinks that they're doing solid for small business with their policies. And so having business owners out there talking about how, whether it's tariffs, whether it's potential cuts to healthcare, how it's going to hurt their bottom line, how it's going to hurt their consumers,
I thought I was being
employees.
reasonable
I do
by
think
asking
that will
people to
have a
wash
real
their
impact. Every
That's all
time he
I'm
does
saying.
something, he gets really bad feedback and he retreats in the face of it.
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekday afternoons, 4 until 6 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
Matt Miller, Milwaukee-based film critic. The film Sinners, the more distance I have from it, the more I liked it. Is that an Oscar film?
I think there is a love for what Sinners is doing, that a studio movie was this interesting and creative
About 30
and
seconds.
thoughtful,
Thank
but
you.
also entertaining. This is
Pursuing truth wherever you may lead and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Glad to have you along. 35 minutes now past the hour, 3 o'clock on a TGIF Friday edition of the Allbaugh Show. Zommers on the board. Glad to have you here. You say, Todd, looks like it could rain. Well, in some parts of Wisconsin, it might be raining. Going to have showers and garden variety thunderstorms moving across the state from north to south throughout the afternoon into this evening. But that's going to clear out what you think could be clouds in part of Wisconsin now. Kind of, I don't want to say dark, but it looks very heavily overcast. Is what it looks
very
like.
overcast.
Out
A
the
little
window.
gloomy.
That's a good word. Gloomy here in Madison. And it's because we are under a air quality advisory today. Wildfires up in Canada, in the forest up there, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, some of which are still out of control. Many hundreds of thousands of acres burned. And the smoke is moving south across Wisconsin, and that's what makes it look like it's super cloudy right now. So if you're somebody with asthma or whatnot, take care, wear a mask, or just stay inside if you can. It should move out of here by tomorrow with the showers and thunderstorms rolling through. Going to be warmer this weekend, and then maybe pertner, as my granddad used to say, pertner 90 degrees on Monday, and humid conditions. Might be into air conditioner weather by the time we get to Friday. Right now, we're right in the middle of what's worse, asking the question, what's worse, handshake or fist bump? A handshake or a fist bump? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842, or you can text us on the Civic Media app. John in Edgerton, listening on WMDX, says fist bumps are worse because the handshake was always to see if your enemy had its weapon. Really?
I did not know that, but
I'm going to believe John's. This would be a great addition to the Liars Club. Is John just seeing whether I'll read something that's not true, or is he giving us a hitherto unknown fact? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that it's true. That's really interesting, John. I did not, as Johnny Carson once said, I did not know that.
According to History.com,
yes,
he's onto something.
Really?
That a popular theory is that the gesture began as a way of conveying peaceful intentions. By extending their empty right hands, strangers could show they were not holding weapons and bore no ill will toward one another. And some even suggest that the up and down motion of the handshake was supposed to dislodge anything hidden in your sleeve.
John
unquote.
for the win. John Edgerton for the win today. Nicely done, John. See, this is the part I love about this bit every day. A lot of times it's just for a laugh or whatever, but occasionally you learn something new.
You really do? I had no idea.
I did not either.
I just thought it was one of those weird things people do.
Yeah. You think a handshake is a weird thing?
I mean, I don't think it's weird. Everyone does it, but it's just I didn't think there was a specific reason for it.
Got it. But you're a fist bump guy, so we'll forgive you. 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Back to the phone lines from beautiful Brookfield, listening on WAUK. Jim, handshake or fist bump? What's worse?
I would say the handshake, only because of the germs post-COVID. I've gone to fist bumps, and after COVID, I went a full year with just doing fist bumps because I didn't like somebody wiping their mouth or whatever and then shaking hands with me. and went a full year just doing fist bumps. And the first person that caught me and grabbed my hand and shook my hand was my doctor. You know,
Really?
in the medical office. And then what does he do? He turns around and washes his hands in the sink. So anyway,
Oh my gosh.
I think handshakes are worse. And also, Todd, to expand on that handshake, you put it out to show no weapons. It goes back to the medieval days for the toast. When you banged glasses, you're supposed to splash some into each other's cup to show you're not poisoning your opponent or your enemy or whomever you're dining with. So the
Really?
handshake, no weapon. Toast means you're not poisoning. You know, if you splash a little over into your glass.
That makes sense.
Once again, I did not know this, Jim. Thank you for more hitherto unknown facts. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend down there at beautiful Brookfield, all right?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. See, we have the best listeners, always serving up great info, things that news you can use.
Well, I don't know about, you can, party. You can impress someone at a party
Yes,
with your
you can impress
history
somebody
knowledge.
at a party. So next time you, cheers and spill some of your drink into your friend or your neighbors, like, what are you doing? Well, I just want to make sure I'm not poisoning you.
Yeah, you gotta, especially if you're all drinking different things.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Eric in Lodi, listening on WMDX, says a handshake is worse. I know the bathroom hand washing habits of too many people to not feel icky shaking someone's hands. I don't know. I guess I don't think about this as much, but I don't know. We'll see. I guess I'm more of a traditionalist. I don't know. I grew up where handshakes were made to be more important, I guess, than maybe some people. I think post-COVID has really done a lot for that.
I think so. And for me, yes, I said that handshakes are worse, but I don't dislike them.
Yeah.
I just feel like fist bumps have more upside to me.
I'm old-fashioned, so just for the sake of being different today, I'll say fist bumps are worse because it's sometimes I feel awkward when I do a fist bump because you don't know right away whether like is the other person going to do it back or what.
One thing that was interesting to me in this history.com article about the origin of the handshake tips us off to some of the way the culture is now, where it says a lot about your character or whatever.
Right.
One 1877 Victorian guide counseled its readers that a gentleman who rudely presses the hand offered to him in salutation or too violently shakes it ought never to have an opportunity to repeat this offense.
Really?
If someone gives you a bad handshake, excommunicate them. Never again.
Lots of medieval history today on the show. All right, that'll wrap it up. Once again, we'll be back next week with another edition of What's Worse here on the show. I mentioned this earlier, and I want to just bring it up here, kind of turn a page, I guess you'd say. Because, again, I think that so often these things are happening in Washington, D.C., and there's a lot of, well, this is never going to affect me from the Trump administration. And to a degree, I get that because many things so far haven't affected some people. But I think this kind of fire hose, I know I use that term too much, but all this news coming out today regarding immigration and migrants. We have this guy now, as we talked earlier, in Milwaukee, who was the victim of being beaten up. I guess we have to say allegedly because this guy hasn't had his day in court yet. And the guy who allegedly beat up this migrant, he is now accused of writing a letter, making it look like it was from the guy he beat up, threatening to kill President Trump in hopes that the guy would be deported. And I guess the guy that beat him up then thought he would get off on these charges, these allegations. And I kind of mentioned the other part of this in passing. And I'm looking at CNN right now on their website, and this is like not even making any of the top headlines right now. It was announced overnight that the Trump administration is going to get rid of, basically, the legal status of 500,000 people who are from countries such as Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. We hear a lot from folks about, well, you know, the general they. If they want to be here, they should do it the right way. don't come illegal. Here you have approximately 500,000 people who are from countries that are, in some cases, war-torn, that they were threatened, and they went through the legal process. It is shown that all of these people, in order to get legal status in this country, had to show financial sponsors. In other words, and I've gone through this as someone who worked on immigration issues in the congressional office for many years. It's not just like, hey, here's Jane or Joe, and they're sponsoring me. Jane or Joe, or whoever it is, they have to submit very extensive bank statements, financial statements, legal statements, proving that they have the resources to financially support an immigrant to this country. Then they have, then the immigrant, the applicee, or what am I trying to say? The applicant has to submit all the paperwork for themselves. And then it gets approved. On top of that, all of these people had to pay their own ticket to get here. Government did not fly them here. They paid their own way. They landed. They went through the proper channels. They have their visas. And the visas were for 2 years to say, okay, you have 2 years to live in the United States legally while we look at your case and determine whether you can stay here longer term. And now, last night, the Trump administration announced they are immediately pulling these visas. 500,000 people who've come here the right way, quote unquote. And now they either have to immediately figure out a way to go back to their original country, or risk being arrested, deported, their lives upended. I just ask that people would stop and put yourself in that individual's place. You did it the quote-unquote right way. You're a legal immigrant to this country. You paid your own way. You found sponsorships here in the United States that will support you while you get your life in order. You did everything right. You haven't committed any crimes. And the Trump administration looks at you and says, get the hell out. Not exactly the Ellis Island American story. Not exactly the story of America welcomes the poor, the hungry, the immigrant trying to find a better life. There is nothing American about what Donald Trump is doing here. It is spiteful, it is nasty, and it's just plain mean. And the reality is, as someone who has been to a foreign country several times in Central America, what this action does is actually increases illegal immigration. Because people in other countries look at this and say, why the heck should I do it the right way? I have a better chance if I go undocumented, go with a coyote, pay the money to go across the border, and live quietly with my family. When you don't provide a reliable legal path to entry and if people want eventually citizenship, all it does is encourages illegal immigration. And I feel terrible for these folks. And if you don't think that these kind of policies could affect you, ask the people in Shawano County, Wisconsin, just west of Green Bay today, who are now under the scrutiny by the Trump administration for being a sanctuary city, and they voted for him with 67% of the vote because they passed a resolution being a sanctuary city for the Second Amendment. You can't make this stuff up. Back with your phone calls after this. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show for a Friday on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I looked at the transcript for that interview with Trump. The word cancer or diagnosis was not said.
Okay.
So he was not specifically asked about that. It's just heavily implied.
Got it. All right. Thank you.
So I'm glad I looked it up before we.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that.
Mind, body, and spirit deserve this. Book your massage or reading today at thecomfycauldron.com.
As usual, I mean, it was hard to decipher the transcript because, it's a transcript of Donald Trump talking. The weave.
Right.
They treat your property like their own. 608-209-2185 for expert care and a vibrant tomorrow.
Always a good time when you stop in at Ooga Brewing in Beaver Dam. You won't want to miss the live music every week on the Ooga patio. Plus, June is Pride Month, so let your flag fly. And be sure to catch the family-friendly Pride celebration June 28th on South Spring Street. And while you're there, stop in to try Pajama Panda. It's on tap. This new creation is a tart ale brewed with koji and plum. Ooga Brewing Company, 301 South Spring Street, part of Beaver Dam's vibrant downtown.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate.
Let's recombobulate.
We are in a rare moment right now in Wisconsin politics. Why, you ask? Well, it's because we are not actively in the middle of a campaign cycle. It's been more than 6 weeks now since any of us have seen a campaign ad. It's been pretty nice, hasn't it? The moment we're in is as close as we're going to get to a political off-season here in Wisconsin. And we need to take advantage of this moment by taking action to improve our democracy. That means taking steps to address money in politics, cleaning up some issues with election administration, and creating a long-term plan for nonpartisan redistricting. In some cases, we can't make these kinds of changes in the middle of a campaign, so we need to be thinking about what we can do now. There's a lot both parties can agree on here,
Keep
too.
it up.
So let's
Maybe
make some
we'll see how
moves
long
this
the call at
offseason in
Dolores
Wisconsin.
goes.
Seize this moment to make a better, stronger, more inclusive
I want to give this.
democracy.
I want to end on the lighter note.
Find
with
all
the
of
national
Dan's work at the Recombobulation area
Bucket Day.
and on our website at
So
civicmedia.us.
I don't want to end on. I don't want to end on another down note. You know what I mean?
No,
With
I agree.
Joni Ernst. I'm not sure I want to give her that much credit, but I mean, save the clip because we'll probably use it like on Monday.
It is heinous.
Yeah.
At
but-
Verlo,
yeah.
we're your friendly neighborhood mattress genius. American made, locally crafted. Welcome to Verlo.
You can support animals in need in our community when you shop at Dane County Humane Society's thrift stores. Thrift Store West on Watts Road and Thrift Store East on High Crossing Boulevard. Shop gently used and new clothing and accessories, home goods, toys, furniture, and a whole lot more. All proceeds from the Dane County Humane Society's thrift stores support the comfort and care of animals in need across the county. Visit giveshelter.org/.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network, where it is now 8 minutes before the hour of 4 o'clock. At the top of the hour, ABC or CBS News, depending upon which of our great stations you're listening to all across Wisconsin. A weather update with Brittany Merlot. She'll update us on the air quality watch this afternoon. Heavy smoke from those Canadian wildfires, and then some showers and thunderstorms tonight before it warms up over the weekend. And our great sports reporter, Mike Clemens, in. The Brewers back in action tonight at Philadelphia. So be in tune for that. And then, of course, from 4 until 6, the Maggie Dawn Show with Maggie Dawn. And from 6 until 8, Pete Schwaba and Nightlight along with Conrad. Always a great show to end your day with here on Civic Media. Right now, talking about this story, the Trump administration canceling the legal visas of 500,000 folks who paid their own way, who did it the right way, who have financial sponsors who did not commit crimes, and the Trump administration seemingly do it, just because. 855-752-4842. Let's go to Dolores, listening on WMDX here in Madison. Dolores, thanks for holding. What say you?
For taking my call. I was born in Mexico, and I've been living here in the United States for over 30 years, and I'm a U.S. citizen. And I'm just wondering, President Trump is doing all this, getting all these visas revoked and everything. I'm wondering if our own home countries are, start doing the same thing to the U.S. citizens who live in our countries. Like, for example, Mexico. We have a lot of people, a lot of U.S. citizens who live in different cities, especially like in Tulum, San Miguel de Allende, in Puerto Vallarta. In a lot of these U.S. citizens, they're living illegally also. So I'm wondering if we start doing the same thing in our countries to see how they feel.
I think
somebody terminate your,
Yeah.
and so I'm just wondering about that.
Right. It's a great point, Dolores, and you know this better than anybody else, is that you're right. There's a lot of expats, as they say, Americans that go down there to either avoid taxes on income or to get cheaper health care, and they extend their visas, and because they're spending dollars, they kind of get to just go along. But wouldn't that be something if Mexico and Costa Rica and Panama kind of turned the tables on some of these folks?
Exactly. I mean, nobody knows what the immigrants going through.
Right.
Fortunately, being an immigrant myself, it could be rough. It could be very, very rough.
Yeah.
Turning your life around from one day to another. But I will be, for it to see if our, Mexico or Belize or Costa Rica, start doing the same thing. Just to see.
Well, Dolores, just know that you're part of you're part of what makes Wisconsin great, Dolores. So thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Thanks for calling in. Great point. Great point, by the way.
That is a great point. Yeah.
All right. I want to end this show with this because filling in for Pat Kreitlow on his show this morning, he does this great segment where National Days, and today is National Hole in My Bucket Day. This is real. Each year on May 30th, National Hole in My Bucket Day is celebrated as a wacky holiday in honor of the fun children's song, There's a Hole in My Bucket, from the great Sesame Street skit that first aired in 1969 on PBS. So give us a little cut of this, Hole in My Bucket.
Boom, boom. Liza, going down to the well, fetch us some water.
Well, that's nice, dear Henry.
Wait a minute. Look at this. There's a hole in the bucket. Dear Liza, there's this hole in the bucket. Dear Liza, a hole.
So fix it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. So fix it, dear Henry, fix it.
Okay, but well, with what shall I fix it? Dear Liza, with what shall I fix it? Dear Liza, with what?
With a stick, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With a stick, dear Henry, a stick.
This goes on. It's a 4.5 minute sketch.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic because the husband is just a dope. And the wife is sitting there in the rocking chair saying, I can't believe I married this fool. That's what she's thinking. And eventually, to the end of the song, the wife is just like, just fix it, dear Henry, just fix it, dear Henry, fix it. It's one of my favorite all-time sketches on Sesame Street, and I did not know that they have a national day for it. So look for the hashtag on social media, hashtag Hole in My Bucket Day. How about that? It originates, by the way, in Germany in the 1700s. It's about a back and forth conversation between Henry asking Liza advice on how to fix his leaky bucket.
Don't we all need help fixing our leaky buckets?
We really do.
Also, at the same time, you were saying it's from 1700s Germany. Cam and Appleton texted in saying the song is from 1700s Germany.
Well, there you go. Verification. So anyway, many thanks to Pat Kreitlow for giving me that info for his show this morning and getting to share it with all of you.
My mom hates that song.
Does she really?
Because it sticks in her head.
And exactly. And all of you out there listening, you're welcome. Because you won't be able to get it out of your head the rest of the day. Parker, our new producer engineer in the morning, he was very entertained by me being entertained by. He goes, I didn't think you'd be as excited about that as you are. I said, no, I absolutely am. All right, great show today. Many thanks to Shali Pittman, our brand new news director here at Civic Media. She's going to be great. I really appreciate her stopping by today. Zobbers, as always, doing yeoman's work on the boards for all of you for listening as well. Maggie Dawn is next. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Watch out for the smoke, which will clear out later today. Make it a great weekend across Wisconsin. Whatever you're fighting for, whatever you believe in, do not give up. Keep banging your drum and fix that hole in the bucket. We'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.
Keep banging on your drum. Keep banging on, and your day will come. Keep banging on your drum, and they will hear you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday. Bye-bye.
Adios.